So let's walk our way through a few more examples, make sure you're really good on it. We're still using that same equation, and then you're going to have a chance to try it on your own with a different equation. So we're going from a number right here. There's moles of hydrogen gas. So we're going from hydrogen, and it wants to know how many moles of water would be formed. So it wants to know about that. And one thing that can be nice to help you keep your information organized for later, after you write down your equation, you might want to write down the information you know. Like you know that in moles, and this is where you're trying to go. So we're just going to take the number that's given, the only number that's given, moles of H2, and start keeping your labels there. And then we're just going to go from, the moles of H2, moles, to the water. So that's really straightforward, right? 3.5 moles of H2O. Now, next question, how many grams of water are produced from 3.5 moles of hydrogen gas? So I'm going to pause for a second. You can pause the video and kind of think through, or maybe even write down what you think you would do. All right, so we would do 3.50 moles of hydrogen gas. And I'm trying to get to grams of water again. Oh, well, before it was moles of water. I know that you could convert this to moles of water this way. That's the molar mass of water. You could totally do it that way. But let's just say you hadn't done that top problem. 3.5 moles of H2. We're going to go from moles of H2, and only when you're at moles can you go to something else, moles of H2O. And then you're going to go from moles of H2O to grams of H2O. So again, we have our moles of H2, and then we switch to our water, moles of water, moles of water. And we just throw our numbers in. This comes from the front numbers. So I have a 2 and a 2, so I could do 2 to 2, or I could do 1 to 1. And then at the periodic chart, if I add together 2 hydrogens, so 2 of those, 2.02, and an oxygen of 16, you're going to get 18O2 in 1 mole. So we'll do 3.5 times 18.02. So it's 63.07. Whoop. Now, this has 3 sig figs. Oops. There we go. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to round this up because the 7 will round it up. 63.1 grams. All right, and then even more common, this is the style you will be doing most of the time. Most of the time it'll have this many factors in the middle before you get to your answer. So very, very common. And you'll notice you've got grams of water, H2 again, grams of H2. Probably should use the purple color for that one. So grams of H2, and again, that's the periodic chart. Then we got moles to moles. And then we have moles to moles. And so what this turns out to be, these coefficients, again, that's because in the same equation, we're not changing equations. You got a number here, you got a number here. And then we just go across with the calculator. So 7.07 times 2 times 18.02 divided by 2.02. And you could do divided by and then parentheses and use times, but I just like to keep hitting that divided by key. Divided by 2. And then that gives me the 63.07, which again, that 07 rounded that up so that it was the 63.1. All right, now pause the video and see if you can do all of these steps. You're going to do grams of water, and you're going to take 10.0 grams, and it's this time we're talking about oxygen. We're going to get rid of grams of oxygen and we're going to go to moles because we know we want to head towards moles because we are trying to get to something else. We're starting with oxygen and we're converting it into water. Like if I were to put stuff underneath, I would say that I've got my 10 grams of oxygen, and I just set it right there. And that's what I'm trying to find. So grams to moles, and we're going to go from moles of O2 into moles of H2O, and then from moles of H2O to grams of H2O. And we're going to plug it in. So 32 in 1 mole. And then we have, if you look at that equation up there, it's 1 to 2 actually. See, it's an understood 1 and 2. So this is 1 to 2. So that bottom number should be a 1. And then we already calculated this earlier. It was the 18.02. And if I put in my calculator, I will get 10 times 2 times 18.02 divided by 32 divided by, well, it's like by 1, I guess. And that gives me 11.2625. Notice this has 1, 2, 3 sig figs, and that does round up. So I have 11.3 grams. Again, this is the theoretical yield. Whenever you're producing product, so the grams of the water was the product, the water was the product, it's the theoretical yield.